As the families of the released victims in Kaduna are heaving a sigh of relief over the return of their loved ones, President Muhammadu Buhari in Abuja earlier today acknowledged that Nigeria needs more international collaboration to tackle terrorism and banditry in the country. The president spoke when he received letters of credence from the Canadian High Commissioner to Nigeria, Ambassador James Kingston Christoph, and Ambassador of Mexico to Nigeria, Juan Alfred Miranda Ortiz. President Buhari blamed the political instability in Libya for the rise of terrorism in the Sahel, as well as a threat to the sustenance of democracy in West and Central Africa regions. The president told the new diplomats that the support of their countries and other friendly countries has helped Nigeria make meaningful progress in tackling insecurity, assuring that the threat will be defeated.
Nigeria is not left out of the equation as we are fighting to rid our country of banditry, kidnapping, harder farmer crisis, and insurgency. We are, however, making meaningful progress with the support of friendly countries like yours to sustain these fights until we overcome these challenges.
45 suspected criminals were arrested and paraded in Ondo State. A suspected killer of late Kate Ogu, alongside 12 others, have been captured in Bayelsa State. They were paraded by the Nigeria police at the command headquarters in Yenagoa, the state capital. We have details in this report.
On parade at the command headquarters in Yenagoa are 13 suspected criminals arrested for activities such as sea piracy, kidnapping, unlawful possession of firearms, and cultism. Most notably is the suspected killer of 25-year-old Kate Ogu, whose body was exhumed from a shallow grave in the room of the suspect named Joseph Fekala.
Our operatives were mobilized to the scene with the help of some medical experts. The corpse was exhumed and deposited at the Federal Center's medical mortuary for autopsy. We have other reports, and the suspects are here. It involves cases of kidnapping that happened at Ekeremo local government, Alebiri community precisely. Ransom was collected by the kidnappers and they have been arrested. Korokorose community precisely, where about 4 suspects were arrested over the weekend in a case of sea piracy. They actually attacked passenger boats, but one of the girls was able to swim to safety.
According to the suspect, he allegedly strangled the victim after an argument over the 50,000 naira she gave him from her business.
I was trying to explain that, okay, see, this thing has happened. One of my tenants is going to pay me by the end of the month, and I'll give you your 50K back. She's like, she doesn't want 50K, that she wants interest of 20K on top. That 5K interest for her is nothing. While she was talking and raising her voice, she was pushing me, shoving me, so I pushed her back. And she fell on the bed in a sitting position. So I quickly rushed to her and tried to close her mouth, stop calling for help. Then she bites my hand. Then we started struggling till we got from the bed till we got to the ground. And I struggled, my hand held onto her neck too tight, and she passed away.
I don't have guns in my house. It's only when Sonny brings the guns for me, that's when I take the guns to go and give to the people he dispatched from, the people that is selected for me to go and give to them. You give me the person's number I will call the person and go and deliver the gun to the person.
The police say the suspects will be charged in court after ongoing investigations are concluded.
More than 8 million youths have completed their continuous voter registration, and this is happening barely 2 days after the Independent National Electoral Commission ended the voter registration exercise. According to INEC, there were 10,487,972 fresh registrants, while 12,298,944 persons completed their registrations. Youths aged between 18 and 35 constitute the highest number of completed registrations, with a total of 8,784,677, while 87,083 persons with disabilities also completed their registration. In June 2021, the Commission launched a portal where Nigerians can register or request to update their voter information before they complete the process physically at designated centers. And the electoral body is also warning Nigerians not to fall victims to fake websites advertising voter registration. In a statement signed by National Commissioner Festus Okoye, INEC stated that the registration sites are not linked to the Commission and the link, a portal, is from a dubious source. He called on members of the public not to succumb to the antics of online scammers and avoid such fake sites. For more on this, let's speak with TVC News' Lupe Asom, who has been following the development since the 28th of March when the Abuja-Kaduna bound train was attacked by terrorists. Lupe, after over 4 months in captivity, how exactly are the victims and their families reacting to their freedom?
Well, from the victims' accounts, we've had the sense of how difficult the experience has been for them. We also spoke to their family members who have been praying. Some of them have been crying almost every day since their loved ones were kidnapped. Recall that we have an 85-year-old grandmother back there with the terrorists. So it has been a very, very difficult time for them. We saw a couple of their family members. They have lost weight. Some of them are sick. We spoke to a 93-year-old father of one of the victims who actually went through a very, very difficult time. So it has not been the best of times for the family members of these people. And even for the victims, they narrate how harrowing it has been for them in captivity. One among those who was free today was reportedly shot in captivity, and he narrated the experience for us. It wasn't a very good one, actually. So that's how it has been. It has been a very, very difficult time for them. But one thing I must also say is that all the people who have regained their freedom so far, from our talks with them, they tell us how difficult it has been. They also narrate how sophisticated some of the weapons of these bandits are, and they call on the government to try to come in and see if they can rescue those in captivity. So for now, those who are being freed are calling on the government to please do all they can to ensure that those who are still in captivity are freed. For now, we still have 34 of them back there in the forest with the bandits.
If you listen to the accounts given there by one of the victims about the harrowing experience, talking about someone with malaria, and it was just as though, you know, heavens were going to fall. Let's talk about the process of this freedom. Have we heard exactly about how it happened? Was ransom paid before these hostages were let go?
Well, the last victim who actually who we had a long talking time with, he told us that, look, for them, they wouldn't come out to say, but some of their family members would tell us behind the scene that they actually paid money for their relatives to be freed. Some of them, they went through hard times. They had to sell some of their properties and all of that. They said, look, this thing was not free. They weren't just free as it is being portrayed in the media. They actually paid. And recall that 11 victims who were earlier freed were released on the condition that 8 children belonging to the bandits, 8 of the bandits' children were handed over to them. So those are some of the conditions that have played and led to the release of some of these victims. So I don't think it's not safe to say that they have been free. They were free without ransom being paid. Some of their family members say ransom was actually paid.
All right, let's talk about security in Kaduna. Yes, these ones have been freed, but what is the state of the dwelling place at the moment? How is security in Kaduna?
Well, you can also attest that for the past few days, we've had it quiet, but then there are fears. There are fears, of course. When you hear that terrorists are being freed, that is talking those who escaped from the Kuje Correctional Facility. When you hear that those kind of people are being freed, and when you listen to some of the accounts of these freed victims telling you how sophisticated these bandits are, of course, many residents in the state are apprehensive. People are now limiting their travel. So people are generally apprehensive at the moment. But then the police authorities will tell you that, look, we are beefing up security. We are noticing police checkpoints in key places in the town. So the police are also doing their thing, and the government is also assuring that, look, we will do all it takes to actually counter these bandits. and ensure that citizens can go about their normal businesses without fear.
All right, Lupi, thank you very much for this update. Lupi has some for us there in Kaduna State.